so much love for all of this, and it has just been going really, really fast recently, and so I'm really excited for the opportunity to kind of update everybody on some of the things that we've been working on recently. We've had some of the most amazing tools that we've been able to use in our program. They've been able to absolutely help have the main thing be the main thing. When we're teaching our kids and when we're learning ourselves, if we can make sure we know where we're going and keep that at the forefront, to have tools that actually help us lead there specifically, it's been such a huge blessing to have those tools. But recently we found that we've had some ideas and we've had some connections where we can actually do even better. And we can take that to the next level to be able to include some really amazing things. And so I just wanted to update everybody on that just a little bit. So devotional has been such an amazing thing, and it's been so much fun to see the kids. We have very few kids now that have a hesitancy to offer up themselves to be able to prepare a talk or to say a prayer or to welcome all the visitors. It's just been so much fun. They've been growing in their leadership and they've had that chance to really stand at the front, and that's absolutely something that will stay exactly the same. Recall has been such a wonderful blessing to be able to have that time. We love that. The things that are changing are in science. We've had this wonderful program that walks children through being able to create their own science book, being able to go and learn how to do research, being able to go and be able to do something with their hands and create something visual and have a record of that, and then being able to go and research in their scriptures so they can understand the physical and spiritual nature of things. But the one thing that we were really lacking was where to go for resource that really is truth and really is aligned with the things that we know. So many times you go into a science book and you find things where you say, well, they kind of say that, but we don't really know how that works, and we just have to kind of glaze over it and move on. And recently we've been able to connect with some of the most amazing, inspiring people that have been absolutely doing real science and have been doing experiments where you can do hands-on things and you can see right there in the proof. And you can learn about scientists that not only did they have faith, not only did they do the work and do a process that makes sense and keep track of things, but they were able to find a result that they could measure and they could really set as a model for how things work. And then these guys have gotten together and gone back and said, is that still true? Does that still work? And how can we show this to families? How can we show this to kids and to adults so that they can really have that real life, here's some proof of things like the flood, which is just so much fun to be able to just point and say, look, you see this? This is evidence of things that you believe in. It's just really, really fun. So we are working on putting that together. One of the highlights that we get to do is we get to have a summer camp this summer. And it will be absolutely a faith-enriching, not a specific religion or anything, just very much, if you've read the Bible, how fun is that? That as you're learning science, there will be things that you can go in there and find it, and it will work together, and it will feed off of each other. So that's going to be really, really fun that we're doing that. In math, this is when we are still looking for people that just have a passion for math. How many of you guys still have a passion for math, or ever had a passion for math? Nobody that's written a lot. We got kind of what? Yay, that's awesome. Okay, so we're looking for people that have that passion because we have some ideas where we can help the kids even have a little bit more opportunity to be creative and more of a chance to really have the main goal. Oh, I need to skip back. So the main goal of science. What's the point of science? Does anybody know? To understand nature, right? To really understand this amazing world that we live in. And so we want to make sure that anything that we do with science, that's what we're getting to do. We're learning how to search. We're learning how to understand. We're learning how to measure. Right? We're learning how to take that information and then really understand nature, which if you really understand nature, you know that Heavenly Father created this earth. Right? And all the gratitude that comes because it is such a miracle that really occurs with everything that we do. So then math, what's the point of math? Right. To learn how to think and learn how to self-govern. So with the things that we're doing for math, we need to make sure that we're absolutely letting these children challenge themselves. Create things that are outside of the box, or create things that maybe they haven't even seen before, but to be able to learn how to solve that problem that they created themselves is so much fun. And to be able to really understand how that matters in their life. And that absolutely stretches that muscle to be able to think for yourself. If you have to apply a math principle to something in your daily life, it's just so much fun. So with the math curriculum, we've got such a great foundation. We love the tools that we've been using. We've had families in different curriculums, and to see all the kids working self-paced in whatever they brought from home. It's just been so inspiring. But we feel like we can absolutely put together a little bit better of a guide for the one who's teaching. So either that's a parent or it's a teacher, but then also a little bit of a guide for the students that are ready, which isn't all the kids, right? 6-year-olds are not ready for self-paced curriculum for the most part. If you guys want to surprise me, I'm sure that there's somebody out there who is. But for the most part, it's the older children that are ready for something self-paced, where they can get their foundation line upon line and go through, pointing towards the main thing, being able to have, some order and some process to it. The language arts, love language arts at school. It's so much fun. Who in this room, who do you think, or who thinks that if you absolutely decided that before you communicated with that person, you wanted them to understand that you really had love for them and that you really cared about them before you communicated? Who thinks that would make a difference if you did that for every single communication that you ever had? Head shaking. Well, that's what we do. We teach kids through creating service projects. We teach them how to serve through their communication and through their language. So teaching them those foundations, but what a great excuse if you're learning that piece so that you can go and create a service project that somebody else can appreciate and would love to have from you because you put all that thought into it and that care. So with this one, the foundation is set. We love the materials we're using, but there's a few things where either we'd like to do a little bit more or be able to just simplify. And so we're just doing a little bit here. We have a couple people working on that. And it's just fun to hear their input. And, when somebody opens up one of our books, it's made such a huge difference for people for decades. And they look at that and they go, oh, and then there's this piece and we can put that in. This has been so much fun to have this be happening over and over, that people are being inspired in little pieces that they can add. And we can have a community that's all working together to have the very best for our kids and the very best for the moms. And even the very best for the teachers who come here. To really make this such a happy environment where the backbone and the structure is there, and you get to pray about how you can have a better day and what you feel guided to do that day. But the backbone is done, and so you're not left with this big empty space that you need to fill. And in history, this one just kind of came together this week, and it was one of those jump up and down for me who grew up not enjoying history at all. Anybody else have the experience that you didn't really love history growing up in school? Okay, so let's review for just a quick second, and forgive me if I keep asking questions to, go down that path. But what's the point of history? Awesome. To not repeat the past. Great. Therefore, what? So what's the next step down that road? So we don't want to repeat the past. Awesome. So therefore, what? We need to learn.
Make different decisions.
Okay. Oh, to make different decisions. Yeah, to learn. So if we're making different decisions, to have what? Or to do what?
Progress.
To progress.
To have a better future.
To have a present. Thank you. Yes, to have a better present, to have a better future, and to be better people, right? If we're better equipped because we have knowledge, we have some experience we can draw off of, right? Like, who would like to know the exact path if you have to walk through a minefield? Mm-hmm. Anybody appreciate that? Like, I absolutely appreciate knowing that something's hot before I touch it. It's just more fun, I think, that way. So with history, a lot of times we kind of stop at just learning from the past, and that's used as an excuse to learn a bunch of facts. And to just pound the facts and go through and what color was the guy's horse and exactly what year did this happen. And the context that has value is kind of left out, but the process is there. And so a lot of kids will be able to have those moments of, oh, that is neat, that is great. But those rare moments and those few kids that are having those experiences, that's not enough. That's not the point of learning history, to just have all of that and to just have that lined out and then, just to basically go through day number 1, day number 2, day number 3. The point of history is to become the people that have the tools and the knowledge and can learn from the experience to be able to make a better future. Like that. So with history, one thing that we're doing is we're going to switch it up a little bit. And we have the most amazing historians that are helping us. And the look on their face was so fantastic. It was one of those moments of, I've never thought of history like this. I've never done anything like this before. but this is going to be awesome. And so it was just so much fun. So what we're doing, it's going to be principle-based history. If the goal is to become the people to make the ultimate, wonderful, beautiful future, and to have these children be the leaders that they can go and they can make that change, and they can be who they're called to be, and they can live their life's purpose, we really need to be building up their leadership principles, right? And so we have a leadership curriculum. Oh, I erased it. And that's filtered in. It depends on what stage you're at, how each of these things are used, and how each of them are filtered into the day. But the leadership curriculum, it teaches what the leadership principle is. It teaches hands-on activities. It teaches how to actually go and now go home and use it and practice that. And then look at what changed if you were focusing on things like being a better friend. How did that change your week? What happened? What did you choose to do? What would you do different next time? So the leadership principles are absolutely part of what we do every day with all of the kids. But then for history, those 13 principles, that's going to be the foundational principle behind how we do history. And so the very first principle is purpose. So in leadership, they'll be learning about what that is, what that means, how we can use it, what it's for. But then in history, they'll be learning the stories of history. They'll be learning the heroes of history. They'll be learning the cycles of history and picking out where maybe someone had a specific purpose that they felt called to, and they acted on that. What happened? What was the result of that person who decided to live based on what they felt called to do? And what happened to the community where they didn't really have a purpose? They just kind of crashed into each other and they just tried to survive without ever kind of deciding what their path was. What happened to that nation, or what happened to that area? To be able to learn the structure of history based on the principle that our children need in their life to be able to go and make a difference for the future. And so we're super excited. The other piece of what they're going to be able to do, and partially because I'm so visual, I was like raising my hand in this amazing meeting and just say, don't forget this part. And of course, this is the normal thing. That people, a lot of times, you build a timeline. Who's ever looked at a timeline and got a little distracted and kind of stuck there for a while? Yeah. And if you haven't done that yet, we have a few out in the hall where you could sit for a couple hours and just say, oh my gosh, this guy, they were there at the same time. What if they interacted? But the first thing that comes is first you get a love for the people, or a love for the time period, or a love for the area, or the culture, or that hero, or maybe the villain. And you get a passion for those things first. And then when you find that on the timeline, then you care, and then you can see how things relate. So as the kids are learning principle-based history, they'll be taking each piece that they're learning and putting it up on their timeline. I don't know if you see what we've already put up on our ceiling. We're probably going to bring it down just because I don't have any teachers that can reach up that high. But we're going to surround the walls. And as they're learning these really important things from things in the past, to put it right there where it belongs. Kind of like books on a shelf, to be able to take that piece and really love it, really understand what it's for, really understand how they can apply that to who they're meant to become and what they can do in their family tomorrow when they have a similar thing, right? Not necessarily civil war, but maybe a couple siblings are sharing a room, and it feels a little bit like a civil war sometimes. How can we use that piece in our life? But then they take that and they put it right where it belongs in a timeline. They put that book on that shelf, and as they fill their bookshelves with all of these things that they understand what that information is for, and they get to see the cycles of history, and they get to see, wow, some of these things really happen together. How did they affect each other? Why did that all happen in that same place or at that same time? Was there something that was a catalyst before that caused the result of these different things that we got to learn from? So that's how we're going to do history. So if anybody has a passion for any of these things, we love building things together. We're all about community building, and we love community learning too. And so we're working together, but it's just been so much fun. So that's kind of the updates on our day. We have our different groups. I wanted to clarify one thing. So on our website, actually let me start over here. So for a family that wants to come and be a part of what we're doing, there's really 4 steps. So the first step is to inform yourself. There are so many things out there in the world. There are so many kinds of schools. There are so many things happening to schools that maybe we went to when we were a kid, and now it's super different, and there's something just kind of off. There's so much out there. And so to really understand kind of the what and the how of what we do, what makes us different, that's inform yourself. And we have more detail. There's some very specific, I picked out really 2 videos, or there's a book that you could borrow from our library. So when you get that kind of foundation of, okay, here's kind of what's going on, here's what we're looking at, then the next step is to come to job day. You're here. This is like a parent orientation. This is a chance to kind of get to know a few of us that have been in this, or they're part of it, a chance to kind of see, the groundwork of, oh, this looks a little different than a traditional school, and there's a room that doesn't have tables and chairs set up, and just to be able to kind of just be in the building, have the feel, meet some people. So that's the attend part. The next step would be to register. So we have one part of what we do is we just connect with some of the most amazing programs that are out there. We have Constitution in the Classroom. We've got the most amazing electives programs. We've got all of these people that have passions that are putting together these things because they feel called to share that information. Or there's an event that might be coming up in the area locally, and you guys can be a part of that. But we also promote and produce a lot of really fun things and really fun classes. And they're open to a lot of people, whether or not you come with your children and enroll in school during the year. So the people who come and register, they have access to all of those events. Because some of the things that we do, if we just open up to the world, right, they might not be ready for a science class that's proving the flood, right? It just might not be time for them to just step into that. But if they're already part of this and they know us, they've gone through these 2 steps, the people who are connected to us, they're really seeking to really have life change or culture change in their family or be able to have exactly what they want. And if this is that piece, this is the next step. And that's really a great tool to be able to know when and where what's going on. And so that's the next step. And then after that, you can technically register and say, I'd like to show up for different things, or I'd like to enroll my 7 children in class and these different things. But the next step is really the interview. At the interview step, you come in and we get to walk through, here's what it really is for you as a parent. And we get to talk to your children, which, have you ever tried to have your children do something that they weren't on board for? How'd that go? Not so great, even when they're little, right? Especially when they're little, especially if you've got little powerhouses, absolutely. So we talk to the kids and let them know, when you come to school, there will be no homework. We only have school in the mornings 3 days a week. And you'll be looking to mom to say how she feels about what you've done in your work. Are you okay with that? And you'll be going and showing your mom all of these wonderful things that you created. Are you going to show her what you did? Are you excited to get her feedback? Are you excited to make friends? You have the chance to pick electives with your parents. And you get to pick what you do. And you get to really maybe do some really crazy, awesome stuff. And sometimes maybe your mom gets to pick that you get to play more and have more time at home. Does that sound fun? And so we talk to the kids a little bit about what they'll experience, what their role is, that they're going to be coming to class, maybe dressed a little differently, if they're going to the park. Because this is a special place where it's all about them and helping them be able to live their purpose. And so they get a chance to really kind of let that settle and see, is that something that I want? Is that where I want to be? Where I'm treated more like an adult, even if I'm 6, and I'm treated like I can handle a little bit more freedom. No raising hands and asking to go to the bathroom. They can just go when they need to go and be good stewards of their time. So if that's something that they want, they know that right away. And then you as a parent be able to get a chance to see, these are the children available, and this is your role as a parent, and this is what that feels like, and this is what that looks like. So we get to go through the interview process. And then, if it's a good match, if we're a blessing to your family, and if we are providing what you are looking for, then awesome. It's a great match, and we both know. And so we're going to be doing those interviews. We're going to be starting on Mondays, because I have some time after I teach leadership to the kids in Mondays, and that's on the calendar too. And then as soon as the semester's over, we're going to have a lot more time to do interviews. And so these are really the steps. If you missed any of these steps, you can check this out, and it's online now under our school page for East Mesa. It walks you through just the different things we recommend. Because if you've ever tried to learn anything online, and there's so much on there, right? Or if you've been to our website, there's so much there. We kind of picked out the key things. If you have this piece, and then this piece, and this piece, you're going to be set. And you'll be an expert, and you'll know if this is the right thing for you, and if we are a good match. Because we really only want you to come if we're a blessing to you, and we're providing what it is that you're looking for. And we feel like we are an absolute really great resource, and a really great support, and that's the goal. That's our plan. But if you feel like we're not that great of a resource and you have something else you'd like to do, why would we ever try to, get you to come here, right? We want people that come that really want this. So, that's the steps, and right here. Okay, so part of really getting to know what we're doing, one thing that I want to make clear is we have these different developmental levels. And when you're going through these steps, you'll learn that we don't divide by grade, we don't label, we don't categorize with all of that. A lot of times they're moving through these different developmental stages, not based on academics. They're moving through because it's based on maturity and what they're ready for and how they learn. And so that's how they move through. And one thing, so in our scholars group, it could just be one group of scholars, but it's been so much fun to see how we can divide it into two pieces. And these guys, they're scholars. They're ready for self-paced academics. They're ready not to be held back anymore, or to take more time on something if they really need more time. But they really need the guidance of their parents to help set what the expectation is for what they accomplish. But then these guys get a chance to set their own pace, and to set their own goals, and then check that with mom and dad. And so we differentiate this into two different groups, but they're both part of that scholars group. If we ever had a school that was a whole bunch of any one group, we could always say, all right, we can better serve this group by splitting like an explorers class into a junior and a senior. But depending on numbers, depending on what those kids need, depending on what the parents want, this is the one that has been the most important divide, to give the kids a chance to be able to be setting their own goals for a little bit, right? Giving them some of that leadership opportunity that they didn't have before, but not before they're ready. That's no fun, right? Failure is no fun. But making a mistake and right away being able to bounce and learn from it, that's really good. And that's what we all go through. So that's how this is. And then one last update that I want to share. This fourth one, this was so exciting. It's kind of a thought that's been on my heart for a long time. And then through some of these, we had some discussions where people got kind of excited and realized what you can do. When we have a community school like this, where it's a bunch of adults that feel like their calling or their passion is to teach one of these things, or to be with that specific group, or to mentor with kids, and we're all working together and we're all trying to create the most amazing thing that has never existed before, you start to have some really cool ideas. You start to make some really awesome connections. So one thing that we have seen before, other companies have attempted to do this, is they kind of take it like a company, or they take it kind of like a college that's online, and you can sign up and pay a bunch of tuition for a year and learn leadership principles and be connected to a mentor, be connected to maybe a business where you become an intern and do something like that. I think that's a great idea, except for what if it wasn't online and there wasn't just one kid in the state that was doing it? What if each little group, each local group, each little school that's popping up, you have quite a few popping up in Arizona and other states, but each one being able to say, great, who do we know that has a business that my child would love a chance to go in, maybe one day a week, maybe a few hours, or maybe learn from them some of these skills, because this is looking like something that they really want to do. Let's give them a shot, right? Let's let them experience some of that and have that be part of their day. And a lot of times, what we're seeing is these kids who are ready to really, they're done with their self-paced, they're ready for something like college, they're ready to go and do these bigger things. They're pretty young when they're done. If we had a child that came to us and they were 15 or 16 years old and they just had this much time and they need to get their foundation set, awesome. Within a year, we could really help them get their foundation set and be ready to go and be out there in the adult world. But if they've been with us for more than a year, chances are, about the time they're 14, 15, maybe 16, they're ready to start experiencing some bigger things. And they've had so much practice with goal planning every month that they've started to really shape their mission. They've started to really understand who they are and who they want to become. And so then to be able to have the freedom to say, okay, let's still work on those leadership exercises and principles. Let's look at a little bit more of some bigger communication skills and maybe some technology that you'll need to use. Let's learn maybe from some opportunities to go out and do a little bit more, then absolutely to be able to connect with some things that are here locally, or if it's an online connection. We've been having such great experiences being able to say we're a school, and these amazing programs recognize that it's very different working with a community that's already connected and then sharing their service or their product. or they're art projecting. Love that, so much fun. So to be able to do that for these kids that want to see what it would be like to be an engineer, right? What would it be like to be an architect? And so we love to be able to put that together, and we have a few people that's really their passion. Their passion is absolutely helping those kids hone in their purpose and to go and try things out to see if they love it. And then you end up with what? What happens to a child if they go into maybe a college program because they know they've already tried it, they've already gone down that path to see if that really is what they want, they know that college is absolutely the thing they need to do to get what they want, and then they start. What do you think the difference is going to be for those kids that are in that program? I see a lot of smiles. They'll be driven. Yeah. Do you think they'll be a little bit more sure? Yeah. Do you think we're going to have as many kids that are trying to find themselves in school? No? I don't know about you, but I've never heard of that going well. If somebody went off far, far away into a big, crazy new something and was trying to find themselves. You know? What if they really knew who they were before they went? That's so awesome. So that's one of the things that we get to do that we're going to be working on. So that's kind of the big update. That's big, crazy, fast. Sorry about all the talking, but it's been just a ball. And so one of the things that if you're registered, when we have updates like this, we go in and there's a blog where we're kind of having that, what's your input, what are your thoughts, what are the things that you'd want, what are the electives you'd want for your kids specifically. Let's make that happen. What are the programs that you want to be able to have connected to whatever they have a chance to do? And so we can have that discussion, because this thing that we do here is built completely around what it is that you want for your kids. Getting rid of the stuff that you don't want and putting in the things that you really do want and having that be what your education is like for your kids. So, now, I get to squat over here for a second. So, how many of you haven't gone on our website and kind of seen what we're all about yet? Is there anybody that hasn't done that yet? You haven't done it yet? I'm sorry for the refiner strike. It's coming at you right now. Awesome. So, does anybody have any questions? I know there were some.
I answered my foundations question.
Did I answer that one? Awesome. Okay. Does anybody have a question on how the roles work of the leadership here at the school? Does anybody have that question?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Very cool. So in each of these classes, we really call them local groups. So you'll hear us talking about groups. We're really working away from the term classroom, because a lot of times labeling what you're physically in doesn't really match the feeling of what it is that you're doing in that space. And so this is a group. So right here where you're sitting, this is the junior scholar group. This is where they meet. And in this room, there's one local group leader. And so that local group leader, their role is to really be able to walk through what the kids are working on and be able to see, oh, I see right here that your mom has written down that she would like you to accomplish this on Tuesday. It's Tuesday. How's that going? How's that working? Do you need any help? What have you done so far? Oh, that's awesome. You got this done. That's so great. And then to be able to support the parents in walking through those steps. How do we set goals? How do we get over those hurdles of getting into these correct patterns, right? How do we get that process going so that kids are able to then step into setting some of their own goals? That local group leader is the one, she or he is the biggest advocate for the parents in this classroom. Their whole focus is on connecting what you really want for that child with what's happening in that space. So, we love the local group leaders. You know, every time we see them, it's like high five, awesome. You know, keeping that close connection. When something happens in the class, if there's something really exciting and the kids were just over the moon excited about that, you know, that hero in history, the local group leader can send out that email and say, your kids might really want to talk about this piece. Or they might want to go and learn a little bit more about this person because they were really excited. So that local group leader is not just your advocate, but also another set of eyes to really see the potential that's popping out and see the excitement and see the connections that are being made and to be able to support you and really still being able to have that stewardship over what's happening in the classroom. The other role that's in the classrooms, and this role could have 1, could have 5, It depends on how many children, and it depends on how much of a piece they take. So the teachers, they're really more like coaches. Do you notice how the local group leader is kind of like a mentor role, where they really kind of know where you're at and help you get to the next step? But the teacher, they're more of a coach. So the teacher has a passion on one of these subjects, or absolutely a passion for connecting with one of these developmental levels. And so they share their heart. They put in the work to be able to put something together that would be such an inspiring thing for these kids to experience, so that they're so inspired, they want to keep going, or they want to do more, or they want to come home and say, oh, Mom, I'm not going to watch the movie, I need to get some work done because I'm so excited about this. They're bringing that inspiration to the table, and they're focused on their stewardship of whatever specific topic or whatever specific thing it is that they're working on. And so the teachers, we love the teachers. They're just amazing. And these subjects right here, these are self-paced. And each of these, once they get to the point where they're mature enough to be able to have a self-paced curriculum. And so the teacher will be able to come up to the front and inspire on that topic. Share something that's hands-on. Do a game. Do an experiment. Have the class together create a service project or something that's really meaningful. They're showing the pattern of how we really, really learn. And then they open it up, and the kids have independent study time. And then the teacher's going around, and they're sitting with those kids. Whether, if the kids have a question on that topic, they're the expert. And what do experts do when they really want kids to learn something? Do you give them the answers? No, you don't. But you can help lead them down a path where they can either remember, or know where to find the answer, or know what to do next. And so that's the teacher's role. And so we love the teachers so much, and they get to just be there and inspire and put all their heart and soul into that. But these teachers are not grading papers. Who do you think is checking the work of each individual child? Yeah, the parents. Does that sound intimidating to anybody? Maybe a little bit? At first it was for me. At first I thought that was a little bit like, I don't know if I'm qualified. I don't know if I have that piece of paper on the wall, right? But really, if you think about it, these children are going through a curriculum where they don't move on until they've got the piece that they need. When they really understand that piece, and they move on. Who better to know what the expectation is for that child than you, their parent? Who loves them more? And who knows what they're going through, and who knows what their thought process is, and who knows what the expectations are better than you for that child? For some, the expectation will be like this. And that science page will be colored. It'll be like, oh, we could just print that right now and sell it. But for some kids, it will be, you really put your heart into that, and you really understand this. And you did such a good job. You've done great. Let's move on to the next piece. And that, for one teacher, even if she just had 5 students, she's not going to know, even if it's that small of a group, she's not going to know them as well as you as a mother would know them, or you as a father would know them. And so, having that local group leader, you have support. And you back up to kind of what are the key indicators we're looking for, what's the kind of the process, what would come next. You've got that support. But then the teachers,